Good morning. This morning we're going to be talking about suicide questions and myths. I met with a lady last week talking about peer support, and I realized that she was not aware of the 22 a day. She's a non-veteran. She did have her dad serve as a veteran, and but it was kind of surprising given the social media and the all of the talk that we do about the 22 that somebody didn't know about the 22. And so that's why education is important in suicide, in veteran suicide, because of people not knowing about the 22 a day. Now, the 22 a day is a number that we have associated with the number of veterans that commit suicide a day. The number fluctuates between 19 and 22, but regardless of what the number is, it is that number of one that is too many. And within that number, it's active duty and National Guard, along with the veterans, so there's about 4 active duty a day that commit suicide, and the rest are veterans, so, it's just a matter of understanding that regardless of what the number is, what the average is, 365 days a year, there's at least one veteran a day committing suicide, and that one is too many. So what is suicide? Suicide ideation is a desire that ends one's life. It is caused by feeling of hopelessness stemming from seemingly unrecoverable negative situations. So it's just that simple thing, it's just having a bad day, and it goes to shit in the handbasket in a heartbeat, and you think the only way out is killing yourself. That is something that, I have been down that road before, even had a plan and everything, but people intervened, and I got off that path. I don't mean that people knew that I was going to commit suicide or thought I was going to commit suicide. They just, it was a big situation, and it was a lot going on, and before I got a chance to do something else came in. Suicide ideations can be effects of several side effects of several mental health issues: anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, and other mental health conditions. Now, it's kind of strange that you said that's a side effect to your anxiety, depression, PTSD, or whatever. Suicide ideation to me is not a side effect to anything. To me, the suicide ideation is the main focus. To me, the side effects is anxiety, depression, and stuff like that, So, it's like, well, you have to know what it is, to know how to deal with it, like I said, every 80 minutes a veteran commits suicide, and the thing about it is, if you look at the number of attempts versus the successful suicides, it's much higher number. Men die from suicide 3 to 5 times more often than women. However, women attempt suicide 4 times as many as men. Impact of suicide: 1 in 6 people directly are impacted by a suicide. So that means if a veteran commits suicide, there's at least I'm reading that wrong, sorry. I had another thought in my mind about that. 1 in 6 people are somehow touched by suicide. So it's not like it's something that not everybody experiences. So the like I said, ranges from 19 to 22 a day. In the last quarter of 2020, when we were going through COVID and stuff, that was a higher quarter because of the wintertime and because of the length that we had been in COVID and stuff like that. So it may have gotten up to 22 during that time, and even though we're coming out of the COVID per se, we're still fighting the mental health issues that involve COVID, because the simple fact is the isolations, which is not forever a good thing for veterans, and all that. 2/3 of all veterans suicides was completed by use of firearms, which is not surprising because we're comfortable around firearms, and the veteran knows that 100%, give or take, not unless you're real, pull the trigger and you pull a gun at the same time back, the gun will take care of the problem, and nearly 2/3 of the veterans were over the age of 50. And this is something that you will find in veterans, older veterans, because they have been fighting the battle longer than any of us. Your World War II veterans are pretty much in their late 90s, early 100s. So it's your Vietnam veterans, your Korean veterans now that we are looking at, and stuff. And so, you have to realize that the older veterans, 65 and up, are in your higher range of, people. And it's just one of those things, and so, in talking about suicide, there are so many myths and stuff out there, and the first myth is, don't ask somebody, are you thinking about killing yourself? This is a myth I talked about a couple weeks ago, because of the fact that somebody had brought it to my attention, and it's a myth. When you ask a veteran, are you thinking about killing him or herself, you interrupt the thought process. Okay, you have that thought off in another direction. The more you talk to a veteran, the further that thought gets away from their mind. And hopefully by the time that you end up talking to them, that thought is completely gone when they realize that somebody cares about them. I don't know, I probably say this every day somewhere to somebody. All the veteran wants to do is know they're not alone. Okay? That is it. There is no big science, whatever, big psychological, big whatever in the heads that you got to know to be able to do this. Just ask the veteran, are you thinking about killing yourself? And you're not going to put any thought in their head. Those thoughts have been there for months, sometimes years, decades on end. For the simple fact is, they're thinking about it, or they've already 2 steps beyond what you think they are, And so, you have a far greater chance of, I really hate lawnmowers this time of thing. It seems like every Tuesday they want to cut grass because they got nothing better to do. Put some sawdust in his tank, maybe I'll shut him up. But anyway, yeah, you have a far greater chance of preventing a suicide than you do planning a thought for suicide. So someone who survives a suicide attempt is obviously not so serious about it. It is just the opposite. More than 70% of people who die by suicide have previously attempted it or threatened to do it. When somebody says they feel this way, take it seriously. Don't think because they attempted suicide once before and you know about it, don't think that they're not going to do it again. It's not something that you need to blow off. It's not like the little boy crying wolf, where, the wolf eventually eats the little boy. You have to know that that's what they mean. You can prevent suicide. People who are suicidal, read that wrong. You cannot prevent suicide. People who are suicidal are intent on dying and feel there is no turning back. So, you can't prevent suicide, okay? That's a hogwash. You can. Suicidal is the most preventable death of all. For the simple reason that you can prevent it. People who are suicidal are not that far gone. Don't put that thought in your head and try to think that you can't do anything. You can. Most people who are suicidal are undecided about it. Parts of them want to die, but part of them doesn't. The main thing is they want to stop the pain, and that's what I said, the loneliness. The loneliness is the biggest pain that veterans deal with because of the fact that they feel like nobody else can understand their pain, which, of course, is a myth because we all understand their pain. The pain may be different, and just like they said, part of them wants to live, part of them wants to die, so you got to find that part that wants to live. Whether it be family, friends, maybe their army career, maybe something else is their part of wanting to stay alive. Okay, so you have to find that and reach that part and pull that part out and talk about that part because that's what they're holding on to and that's what you want to get to. Only experts can prevent suicide. Suicide prevention is everybody's business, and anyone can prevent suicide. You don't have to be a shrink. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be anybody. You have to be a person. You have to be a person who cares about somebody else enough to say, hey man, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing? And there are a lot of comments on my page right now with the video. After I post this video, I want you to go back and read those comments because they got some very helpful information. It's anybody can do it. Confronting a person about suicide will only make them angrily increase risk. And of course, we talked about all the different things. No, it's not. They're going to open up because you asked the question and you care and you are there. Okay? And that is the difference between you and somebody else is you are there. You are the one. Okay? One of the things I would recommend to y'all out there, if you want to do it, is take the mental health first aid course. Okay? It's basic mental health first aid. It's just like when you were in the military and you took combat lifesaver or something. It's basic first aid. It's just first aid and mental health till we can get them to a professional therapist if that's what they need. I'd recommend you taking that. It will help people who don't understand mental health or don't know mental health to recognize symptoms and stuff. Suicide people keep their plans to themselves. Nope. Most of the time, people are talking about it. They're talking about, oh, I just wish I'd die, or they start giving stuff away, or they, do things, maybe they want to go skydiving or something way out of their thing, because they're thinking maybe I can die, my chute don't open or something. Suicide usually happens without warning. 8 out of 10 people who die by suicide give some sort of warning or clue to others, even if it's subtle. And so that's why you have to pay attention to the people around you. Because the simple fact is, you're the one who's going to find that subtle change that nobody else is going to know. You are the friend who needs to be there and who is there, okay? And the thing about it is, maybe subconsciously, your friend who has his problems are thinking about, okay, my friend's here, maybe I can kind of let them know what's going on without telling them, and then they'll talk to me. It's just like the movie Restrepo. It's an outpost movie about an outpost in Afghanistan back in 2004 or 5. And it's the guys up there in the infantry, and they tell each other, you don't have permission to die today. You have to stay alive for me. And that's basically what you're going to tell your friend. You don't have permission to die today. I need you. It's just like when I was in combat with my soldiers. Even when they would go home on R&R, I would tell them that I need you. In other words, I need you to come back here, and I need you to be here for me, because you're going to help me stay alive. And each time we'd go outside the wire, I'd tell them, I need you. Meaning I need your head in a fight. I need you to be able to be there for me. Don't flack out on me. Okay? And so the last thing I'm going to talk about today is suicide warning signs. What you hear, verbal clues. They're talking about different things. Killing themselves, not being around, don't have anything to live for. What you see, behavior clues. Their behavior changes. You know it. Situational clues. Different situations come up that you hadn't seen before. The more clues and signs observed, the greater risk. Take all signs seriously. Don't ever blow anything off. Okay? So what you hear, direct verbal clues. I decided to kill myself. I wish I was dead. If X, Y, and Z doesn't happen, I'll kill myself. My family, indirect verbal clues. My family would be better off without me. I wouldn't be around much longer. I won't be around much longer. I just want to go to sleep and not wake up. What you see, isolation, self-medication, reckless behavior, drastic changes in behavior or personality. Behavior clues, loss of interest in personal appearance, unexpected preparations for death, preoccupation with death or dying, feeling hopeless about the future. What you know, situational clues, being expelled from school, fired from a job, family relationship and problems, death of a friend or family member, especially if by suicide, diagnosed of a serious or terminal illness. Situational clues, what you know, financial problems, sudden loss of freedom, feeling embarrassed or humiliated in front of peers, victim of assault or bullying. Remember, ask yourself, am I hearing, seeing, or knowing anything about a person that could cause a concern for his or her safety? If the answer is yes, then proceed to helping that person get help with suicide. 911, call a therapist, call your best friend, call somebody to come help you deal with that situation. So like I said, September is Suicide Awareness Month, you know, and that's why I'm doing my suicide videos again. You know, it is very important that you pay attention to the people around you, because of the simple fact is that you can prevent somebody from committing suicide, and you can stop somebody from killing themselves. You know, I really want to get away from that commit problem. Sounds like you're committing a crime or something. He killed himself, so dying by suicide, or whichever way you want to call it, is what you need to do. But like I said, this is one thing that is important in the veteran community, is that we pay attention to each other and to each other's behavior and to each other's speech and everything else. And you know, it's hard sometimes to know, but if you have a doubt, then you need to act on that doubt. You know, I would rather act on a doubt than to ignore it and my friend commit suicide, die by suicide. You know, that is just the way it is with things, and you don't go any other way. You know, so next week we're going to be talking about I got it in my mind, I got to look at a piece of paper, you know, to help me, you know. Anyway, we're going to be going over the talking to somebody about suicide. So the way, once you have established that fact that there's a possibility, then we're going to go through the steps of talking to somebody about suicide. Talking to somebody who is thinking about suicide, killing themselves, not, yeah. But anyway, like I said, it's just one of those things that you have to do. You know, I just find it amazing that people will talk about veteran homelessness more than they will veteran suicide, but no veteran, you know, not too many homeless veterans die every day versus the number of people that die by veterans that die by suicide every day. You know, so it's one of those things that you just have to realize it's uncomfortable to talk about, but this is what you need to do. So y'all take care. 9/11 is this weekend. I wanted to talk about 9/11, but I felt like this was more important than that. So y'all take care and God bless.